Great to see you.
Hi, Jorge. So, ladies and gentlemen, we will kick things off with number 3 ranked UFC welterweight contender, Jorge Masvidal. First question will go to Jim Varson from the Miami Herald. Jim, you're unmuted.
All right, thank you so much. I just wanted to know, first of all, just what is it like to get in here, be part of this super card, and also be there at Fight Island? This is the first big event ever at Fight Island.
I love popping cherries, so it's pretty cool in that sense, you know, to be the first to headline here in Abu Dhabi and stuff. But much like I said, leading up to my last fight, I try not to get too involved in the moment because I might get overwhelmed in the moment. So I just keep reminding myself, no matter how cool this is and how many cool things I'll do along the journey, it's just a fight, and I got to keep reminding myself it's just a fight. So right now, my emotions are, I don't let myself get overwhelmed by everything cool that's happening and stuff. I'm just here to fight. You know, if it was here in England, Mars, Saturn, I'm just here for a fight.
And Gamebred, what is it like with the time differential that'll be in place for this fight? Does that even weigh a part in your mind, or that doesn't even matter what time the fight is?
It matters because not only did I have to get adjusted rather quick to the time here, but I have to get adjusted to fighting at 8 in the morning. Go figure, besides a little bit of weight that I got to cut, you know, so it makes the journey a little bit more memorable.
How has the training been? Did you do anything even to like help Dustin get ready for his fight or anything like that to just stay in shape, even though not knowing this fight was going to be here?
Well, I definitely gave Dustin and a couple other friends of mine a couple rounds in sparring and wrestling, whatever they needed. I just wasn't trying to get burnt out, so I wasn't in the gym every day. I was doing other things like running beach or swimming, playing spike ball, different things to just keep my body active, lifting weights, doing circuits. As if I'm at the gym all day long on the mats, I feel like I would have got burnt out with no opponent, no nothing. And when I would have had a fight, you know, I could have got a little burnt out. So I decided just not to be in the gym full time all the time, but I'm in relatively pretty damn good shape.
And then lastly, for me, we've got the South Florida connection here in this fight, in this big main event and all. How do you feel about, you know, him being training in South Florida with Sanford, you're training with American Top Team, you're a Miami guy, and just representing South Florida and just a little pride factor too, coming out on top of representing South Florida like you have been?
Yeah, ain't no connection whatsoever in any way, shape, or form. The only connection is my knee to his jawbone. There's nothing, that guy's not from Florida. He doesn't even train there right now currently, so he's nothing to do with Florida. He was just another tourist passing by.
All the best, man. Go get him.
Thank you, my brother.
Thank you, Jim. Next, we have Nesta McGregor from BBC.
From the UK. This fight is a bit of a gift. You wasn't expecting it. Are you as prepared as you'd like to be, or would you have preferred this fight to be in a month or two?
You gotta ask better questions than that. 6-day notice, how prepared could I be, you know? I'm as prepared as I need to be for Usman, but obviously it's not like a full training camp. It's not like I had 6 weeks to prepare. That'd be different. My weight wouldn't have been as high. So I'm not gonna say my weight-wise I'm 100%. You know, but everything else, my mind is ready, my heart is ready, my skill set is better than him on any day of the week. So I just get to go out and prove it come this Saturday.
Okay, you just spoken about with the previous journalist about your Miami connection. We all know your story, you know, from fighting in squalid gyms to this. If there's a movie about your life, who plays you and how does it end? Do you have the championship on Saturday?
I have the championship and a lot more on Saturday. And who plays me? I don't know. A lot of these Hollywood actors are a little wishy-washy, and I wouldn't want these guys portraying me in any way, sense, or form, a lot of them. So it'd be tough to find the right one.
No worries. It sounds like you'll play yourself. Thank you very much and good luck.
Yeah. Thank you, my brother. Have a great day.
Thank you. Next, we have Jeff Wagenheim from ESPN.
Hey, Jorge. I apologize if someone asked this because I had to jump on the call a little bit after it started. But with Mike not able to be in the corner, have you settled on all who will be in the corner? We have one fewer person, or have you enlisted somebody else to be there with you?
Yeah, we'll have an extra person. Secret weapon of mine will be there. We're ready to go, man. It obviously sucks. I really wanted Mike Brown to be right there in the corner because he's put in so much mat time, phone time, tape time, running alongside of me, cutting weight alongside of me. We were friends and sparring partners and training partners long before he became my coach. So when he took on the role as one of my head coaches, has brought me this far. It's just devastating news when I found out that Mike Brown was not going to be in my corner. But the show must carry on, and Mike will be there in spirit. And I got to do this for my boy, man, Mike Brown.
So, secret weapon. We're not going to say who the secret weapon is. We want to keep the suspense going until Saturday. I guess so.
Que pariu, man.
No, don't speak Portuguese. They can understand you.
I guess so.
Safada, man. Man, gatinho.
All right. Well, was it? I mean, obviously, Mike is an important guy to be around you, as you just said. Then, when he tested positive, were you concerned about yourself being able to? Obviously, you passed tests, so it looks like we're all set. But did you have some concern right away? Like, man, we've been training together. He didn't look like he was sick, and all of a sudden, I've been training with this guy. Am I gonna get bounced from this fight as well?
Well, we would need a lot longer than this interview for me to break down what's going on with this coronavirus, what my opinions are, and from asymptomatic people, and whether this thing was made in the laboratory or not. So we're not gonna even get into that. But I know God's got my back, and I knew I wasn't gonna be sick. I'm not.
Sounds good. One last thing. You mentioned that when you first got the call saying that you were going to get in this fight, you had called your dad, but you waited till you got home before you actually told him about the real details. And I'm wondering, like, where were you when you first got that call, and how could you walk us through that and get a little more detail about where you were and how long it was before you actually got to tell him?
It was 4th of July, America's birthday. And though a lot of people were trying to stop that day, which I don't know why they were trying to stop America's birthday from celebrating protesters and stuff, I was at a good friend of mine's house, Abraham's brother Malcolm, eating barbecues and, with the family. My family was there, his family was there. We had fireworks going up, and we were negotiating the deal when it finally got signed. So I told my father, and I just teased him, I have really, really good news, but I can't tell you what it is and this and that. And then when I got there, I told him, and he was happy as could be, man.
That sounds great. As well he should be.
And I got the good news on America's birthday, 4th of July.
We may get some more good news this weekend. Good luck this weekend. Stay safe, and see you again.
Thank you, my brother. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Next, we have Spencer Kite with UFC.com.
Hey, Jorge. Obviously, you said earlier that, preparation for this and getting it on 6 days' notice, certainly not ideal. But as somebody that's been in the game as long as you have, who's been through as much as you have, what makes you uniquely prepared to take an opportunity like this and make the most of this opportunity on Saturday?
Well, the reason I'm here is because I've taken opportunities like this before in the past. I just didn't get no credit for it or whatever it was. They went unseen, but I've done this many times in my career, situations similar to this. So that's it. I just got to take advantage of it. At the end of the day, it's a fight. It's not a math test. It's not an SAT thing that I maybe not be the best at. It's what I love to do the most, what I've done since a child, my fascination since youth. So I just got to go out there and believe in myself and give it everything I got. And on top of it, my opponent, I don't got faith in him. I don't, there's other guys that I would have said, maybe I need more than 6 days, A lot of guys that I fought in the past that I wouldn't have took it on 6 days. Usman's like the perfect guy to take it on 6 days.
What makes him the perfect guy to take it on 6 days?
Well, besides him having 17 different personalities and me not knowing which was going to show up to fight, I think he's weak-minded.
I gotcha. You mentioned in there doing stuff like this before and not getting credit for it at times. This last year, you've gotten a ton of credit, a ton of recognition for the year you put in. what does it mean? What has it been like for you to finally be getting some of that love, to finally be getting some of that attention, and having people start to recognize and appreciate things you've been doing since long before people started paying attention last March?
It's amazing. It truly is. I just thank God for it. You know, I had a good year to myself to reset my mind, get everything right together in my head, body, soul, spirit, and then come back to the sport and give it my all again. It's just amazing that the world took notice this time, and it's really been a blessing.
And given that, and given the journey that I know you've been on and that we've talked about in the past, what will a victory on Saturday mean to have bet on yourself this whole time, to bet on yourself here and stand triumphant in the octagon on Saturday night?
Means a lot, my brother. I've been doing this 16 years professionally, like I said earlier. It's gonna be 17 in a couple months, and what exclamation point, right? They say this guy's the best in the world, and he's the worst out possibly for me out of the top 10 guys. It's all these things going against me before I even get in that cage. So leaving with that belt, it's gonna be pretty cool.
All right, I appreciate it, man. All the best. Good luck on Saturday night.
Thank you, my brother.
Thank you, Spencer. Next, we have Carlos Contreras.
Hola Jorge, ¿me puedes escuchar ahí?
Sí.
Estábamos en Miami hace 5 meses más o menos cuando Dana dio la noticia, fue el incidente ahí con Kamaru. ¿Sientes que fue destino, que de todas formas pasara lo que pasara, esta pelea iba a suceder en Fight Week, con todo lo que se dio en los meses de negociación, todo?
Garantizado. Yo creo que fue de más allá de Dios Todopoderoso. Dios no le gusta cuando la gente se mete conmigo. Y el UFC me estaba tratando de meter el pie, regalando el puesto mío a otra persona que lo iba a aceptar por mucho menos dinero de lo que debe esa misma persona coger. So, Dios no le gustó eso para nada y sucedió lo que sucedió y aquí estoy, listo para el combate.
¿En algún momento salió de tu cabeza Usman o, como dice Dustin, seguiste trabajando y pensando en que podía darse esta pelea con las condiciones que tú querías?
Nunca salió de mi cabeza, pero no estaba en mi cabeza. Si pasaba, pasaba. Si no, yo sabía que en el futuro algo iba a pasar. Pero como te dije antes, Dios no le gusta que la gente se meta conmigo. So, aquí estoy.
¿Cómo has sentido la respuesta de la gente? Porque obviamente Gilbert ascendió muy rápido, pero hoy parece que este evento lo quiere ver más gente. Parece ser que es un evento que va a vender más pay-per-views.
Mucho más gente lo quiere ver. Desde que yo he entrado, las preventas han subido por el techo, la cobertura de la pelea ha subido el triple. Son números nomás, no estoy hablando de opiniones. So, es garantizado que yo he traído un público completamente diferente, una energía completamente diferente de más de que esas dos personas tenían combinadas.
Se ha hablado mucho de este dato de las casi 50 peleas para llegar a la pelea del título para ti. ¿Representa algo el cinturón? Porque sé que siempre has hablado de que a ti hoy te interesa más el dinero. Hoy la pelea del dinero es la del cinturón, obviamente, pero que a ti te interesa más hacer algo por tu familia, ¿no? Sé que tener a tu papá contigo en Estados Unidos ha cambiado mucho tu forma de ver las cosas. ¿Representa algo a ti ese número? Primero. Y luego, segundo, creo que hay mucha gente que se quiere olvidar que ya peleaste por el título en Strikeforce.
Sí. Bueno, mi hermano, yo siempre siento que los latinos trabajamos el triple de duro y los pagan mitad del precio. Eso ya tenía que venir a un fuerte no. So, por eso que la pelea se cayó al principio, no me estaban dando el valor mío. Y tuve que aceptar la pelea en 6 días con 20 libras para perder, para que me dieran el valor mío. Pudimos llegar a más cerca de lo que yo quería. No llegamos a los números que yo quería, pero estábamos más cerca. Así es la vida. Voy a hacer todo lo que yo pueda el sábado para eliminar a esta persona.
Ya que mencionaste las 20 libras, mucha gente se pregunta, ¿te comiste toda la pizza o era nada más para la foto?
No, era nomás para la foto, nomás. Le di una mordida. Tenía 7, 8 personas conmigo en el avión, hay que darles de comer a estos caballos. So, paramos el avión, tenía que probar la pizza cuando en Roma, ¿no? So, la probé, les di una mordida y ya.
Y finalmente, Jorge, obviamente tienes a todo el público latino de tu lado por tu herencia cubana, por tu herencia peruana, y ahora también muchos mexicanos que te siguen por la conexión latina nada más y por el tema del mezcal.
Y señor, recuerdo mezcal, no se olviden. Yo creo que muchos latinos se ponen detrás de mí, porque soy un guerrero nomás, porque no me doy por vencido y tengo el espíritu de latino que todos los latinos pueden ver, de sur, centro y el Caribe. Pueden ver que tengo el mismo espíritu que ellos, que no me doy por vencido, que tengo valores y principios, me gusta trabajar duro y no voy a tomar que nadie me diga no, ni dejar que ninguno de estos demonios ni diablos me aguante abajo. Yo voy a hacer lo que siempre he sido, representar por mi público latino.
Muchas gracias, Jorge.
Gracias, man.
And next we have Damon Martin from MMA Fighting.
Hey Jorge, in the lead up to this fight, you've talked openly about the last time you suffered a loss in the UFC to Wonder Boy. But when you think about the resurrection, what you've done these last couple of years, can you kind of put into words like what this last couple of years has really meant to you leading to this moment to fight for your first UFC title, to kind of cap off everything you did in 2019? It's kind of crazy when you think about the last couple of years for you.
Yeah, it's been a roller coaster, man. It's been up and downs, downs and ups, and snap. Even in my downers and my highs, it's been an amazing journey. I love it. I love what I do. That's why I'm still here. So I got double the years fighting professionally than most of these guys do. And that's not an opinion, that's more of a fact. So I got more KOs than a lot of these guys have victories because I love what I do. If I didn't love what I do, the money couldn't get me in here after all these years. I love what I do, and it's the only reason I'm still here.
Leading up to this fight, you obviously talked a lot about, being paid your worth, and you got your deal done, and obviously you said you got, pretty much what you wanted. But you became kind of a voice for that, for the few weeks you were really talking about that, kind of leading that charge. When this fight is over, you got a title around your waist. Do you still want to be that guy? Do you still want to lead that charge for fighter pay, things like that?
Still leading the charge. I think I just set an example to lead the charge. They offered me a deal, I didn't like it. I didn't take it, God fixed it on the back end for me. They came back with a much better deal. So I'm here. If not, believe me, this is not nowhere near the same deal where they offered me before. If not, I wouldn't be here. I'm leading that campaign, and whether I have the belt or not, which I am gonna have the belt, but if I wasn't competing for the belt, I'd still be campaigning for a belt around my waist. I'm still gonna be campaigning for not just more money for me, but for all my brothers and sisters in the sport, especially when it comes to a revenue share of the pay-per-view. That's really what I'm voicing my opinion of.
Absolutely. When you were fighting Ben Askren last year, you talked about the personal nature of that, some of the crazy things he had said, and how you kind of felt about that. It did become personal for you. Where is it personal with Kamaru Usman? Is it that kind of level of personal like it was with Askren?
Like I said in the Askren fight before and after, it's never personal. It's always bitten, and it's just people that I probably didn't get along too well with, But Usman, for a fact, has crossed lines, and no other competitor that I've fought have talked about. He's talked about things he's gonna do to my butthole, which I don't understand why he's talking about my butthole. He's talking about my ethnicity, whether I'm this or that. He's telling people that I'm saying I'm God. You can't find the video or a Twitter thing or nothing ever saying that I said I'm God. So this guy's just doing a lot of things that are going to cause them to get hurt in a very violent way. And if the referee trips on the way to stopping me and I get to get a couple extra punches, I wouldn't mind.
The super necessary punches is what you're saying?
They're going to be a little bit more than the super necessary punches. It's going to be something a little special around, I'm going to have to go into my fast forward speed and truly send this guy to another plane.
And my last question, a lot of people talk about Darren Till, they talk about Ben Askren, they talk about Nate Diaz, all tremendous wins, but you fought so many guys throughout your career, Eve Edwards early in your career, Joe Lozon early in your career. I mean, you fought so many guys. Where does Usman rank in terms of like the toughness of opponent? Would you put him in that same level as some of those other guys, or do you not think he is actually as good as advertised?
Nowhere near good as advertised. And that's why I'm here. I'm going to prove it. I think he's mentally weak. And I can't blame the guy either. He's got 17 personalities. He should have had him diagnosed, and maybe each one of his personalities needs to be on Adderall or some type of substance that he doesn't have so many personalities. So it's just his mental weakness is going to come out on Saturday in an abundance. The world's going to see it, that I just took full advantage of this individual in his weak-ass ways.
Thank you, Jorge.
Thank you, man.
Thank you, Damon. And then we are going to end off with Mojan Wu from HUPU in Shanghai.
Hi, Jorge. How are you? This is Hupu Sports from China. So first of all, tremendous respect to you for taking this fight in such short notice. Many Chinese fans want to know how do you feel right now, and we have surprisingly seen your recent IG post about eating a pizza on the jet. So how do you physically and mentally prepare for this fight?
Physically, I had a lot of weight to go. I feel good, you know. We stopped off in Italy to get pizza, but it really wasn't for me. It was more for my team. I did take a bite of the pizza, but it didn't need a whole pizza. So my weight is not perfect yet, but I'm on the way to being perfect in a couple of hours. I feel good, man. Mentally, physically, and spiritually, I'm where I need to be at. All I need to do is just wake up and compete.
Okay. So we all know you are very skillful and thoughtful fighter. But honestly, would your coach Mike Brown's ambitions would bring you any challenge for this title fight?
Definitely, just as a motivational factor, just as to draw from inspiration, somebody that knows me very well, and then on top of it, I think he's one of the most technological guys in the sport. He's just state of the art, you know. So it sucks that I don't have one of my best friends and my longtime coach there with me, but the show must carry on. I must do what I must do, and I'm just gonna do it a little bit extra more artful and painful since I didn't have Mike there.
Yeah, thank you. My last question is, many Chinese fans knows you from three things. The first is 3 fights, and the second thing is 3 pieces, 1 soda, and last thing is the craziest 5-second knockout. So your image in the mind is always related to brutality and masculinity. So how do you really look like in the real life when you are not fighting?
Well, I'm not punching people in the face that are not real fighters in real life. You know, it's not like I'm some animal that is just attacking people. My easy to get a if you don't disrespect me, I won't disrespect you type of person. And I got a lot of love for every individual, every human being. I think God created us all, so that's why I call everybody my brothers and sisters, you know. So for the most part, I get along with most people. It's just in my sport, there's a lot of idiots, man, as you can tell. And there's only one way to deal with these idiots and these animals, and that's
Okay, good luck on Saturday. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jorge. Good luck this weekend. Thank you, everyone. We will return with Kamaru at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific time in about 40 minutes. Hi, everyone. Just a quick announcement. We are probably going to have Kamaru come in a little bit earlier. If you haven't seen my message, just wanted to give you guys a heads up.
We are now joined by UFC welterweight champion Kamaru Usman. As a reminder to media, if you wish to ask questions, please select the hand icon in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. If you do not wish to ask a question or want to be removed from the queue, please select the hand icon again. Kamaru, thank you for joining us, sir.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear. We will take the first question from Damon Martin with MMA Fighting.
Hey, Kamaru, obviously this fight is kind of strange because it all came together on 6 days' notice, and over the last couple of days, since Jorge took the fight, a lot of attention has been paid on him. In a weird way, is that kind of taking the pressure off you because he's kind of had to do the media, he's kind of had to answer all the questions, and you've kind of got to sit back and kind of do your own thing?
Yeah, I mean, things like that don't really bother me because I know I've prepared myself, and I've done all I can to control what I could control. So that's all on him. I mean, he took the fight on short notice, but let's not think that he hasn't been training for this. Like, he has to train for one guy, and that's me. And I was training for a completely different guy. But every time you step in as a champion, you're gonna feel pressure. But that's what champions do, is how they are able to get over that.
To that point, we've seen that, short notice for him is being talked about, but there's also a short notice factor for you because, Gilbert Burns is a much different fighter than Jorge Masvidal. And I don't think anyone would have blamed you if you said, I don't want to fight a different guy on 6 days' notice. So why were you willing to do that? And what was it about this matchup that you still felt so confident, even with only 6 days to feel confident facing a guy like Masvidal?
Fighters fight. Especially champions. I've kind of built myself just working day in and day out and training for each and every different styles, each and every different opponents. So it didn't really matter. I trained and was prepared to get into a scrap, and it didn't matter who the face was at the end of the day. So it doesn't matter. Fight is a fight. I'm going to get in there. I'm going to do what I do.
One of the things that you did so well with the Colby Covington fight was, despite all the crazy things he was saying, you just kind of separated yourself from that and went out there and you were all smiles during fight week. And then you went out and obviously had a great performance, knocked him out in the 5th round. I know there's been a lot of bad blood between you and Jorge leading into this fight months ago. But can you carry that same kind of demeanor into the fight where you separate all the personal stuff and just go out there and put on a performance?
That's me personally. Like I said, when I put in the work, and I know that I put in the work, the only thing left to do is just go out there and perform. Whatever he says or does, or his management team or any of them say or do, that doesn't have any effect on me. I'm stone. I see no face, and I get in there and I take care of business.
And last question for you, Kamaru. You said when you tried to land this fight on short notice, you wanted it in an empty arena. You wanted the sound of your punches to land. And I know you've told me many times that, breaking an opponent, beating a guy over 4 or 5 rounds is actually a better way for you to win. You enjoy that more than a first-round knockout, things like that. Now here's your chance. Empty arena, short, all the things that we're playing. Is that kind of in your mindset again, that thing you were talking about originally on Instagram, and then I know we talked about it again afterwards?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a different fight that you fight as a fighter. There's a different fight that you fight with yourself internally and mentally when you're fighting somebody, and sometimes you can kind of get lost in it when you're in a stadium full of 20,000 people, and that could actually uplift you, or sometimes it can be a detriment. But when you have to fight that fight and there's no other voices but that voice in your head, and then now you got a guy beating your ass and he's talking to you and telling you things and letting it be known just his dominance over you. It's another level of breaking somebody mentally. Like, there's a reason why I love to break guys over the course of the entire fight, because you land a quick punch and you knock the guy out in the 1st round, and the guy can carry on his career saying, oh man, if I had just protected myself against this, I got caught. That was it. I got caught in this submission. I didn't know it. I didn't this and that, blah, blah, blah. There's different type of excuse. But when you beat their ass from start to finish the whole time and outclass them completely, it breaks them internally. It takes something away from them that they can never gain back. That's a fight they don't want to fight again.
Thank you, Kamaru.
And we will take our next question from Jim Varsalone with the Miami Herald.
Yeah, thank you, champ. I'm wondering first, what is it like being there at Fight Island, being part of this super card mega event? and then also some of the disappointment when Gilbert got tested positive and possibly not being able to fight on this big event.
I mean, it's great being here on Fight Island. I think Dana and Dana White and the UFC did an amazing job of putting something like this together. I mean, it's incredible just to see the precautions that they took from from bottom to top. And on top of it, yeah, I was disappointed when Gilbert fell out. It's tough to put in a training camp. Like I took time away from my daughter. I've never done that before. I moved away and I wasn't able to see my baby girl each and every day. That you know, it was different. It's a different mindset that it puts you in. It's a different state of mind. And so when the fight fell out, I was very disappointed. And as I mentioned, I was on my way back to her, and then I get the call midway through that travel day that, hey, we might have a fight for you. So I'm just grateful. I'm grateful to be a part of this. I'm grateful for everything that these guys have done, put together, and I can't wait to go out there Saturday night and put on another performance.
Is it a different vibe because Gilbert was a teammate, even though he's an opponent, a training at Sanford MMA, formerly Hard Knocks 365, and now you're going against a rival, in a sense, of American Top Team with Masvidal. And I guess the history, too, when you were with Black Zillions, right? You beat American Top Team for the finals in that battle. Does it present a little more, give it a little more cachet because it is ATT as well as Jorge?
For that, in that aspect, the fact that it is ATT, I guess, you know, because I know Dan Lambert very well, and you know, it's another one that I get to put a check by. You know, I pretty much ran through everybody in that gym, every welterweight they have in that gym, and yeah, in that aspect, it will be satisfying, and also for what Glenn Robinson started with the Black Zillion, this would be satisfying. But you know, towards the end, I see no face, whether it's Gilbert Burns, whether it's Tyron Woodley, whether it's Kobe Covington or Jorge Masvidal, I see no face. By the time we step in there, you know, they have to step, you know, in front of the Nigerian Nightmare.
And Champ, what about the time difference in this, in the sense of you all be fighting so early, and what things have you been doing to adjust to prepare for that and get ready for that?
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be a little tough, but I've kind of tried to put myself.
Are you a morning person, Champ?
I am. I am definitely a morning person. For me, it doesn't really matter. Morning or night, I can do them both. It just depends on what the task at hand is. And so if I know I have a early boxing session, maybe 6 a.m. or 7 a.m., that's not a problem for me. I'm going to get up and I'm going to go get it done. And so I think early morning here, by the time I fight, is going to be equivalent to nighttime back home. So it really doesn't make a difference. You know, you guys can see I can perform at nighttime when I'm back in Vegas, and I definitely perform in the mornings when I go to trainings.
And lastly, for me, just curious, did Henry Hoof make the trip now? I know, right? Am I right on this, that he was sort of out of the training element of it because you had Gilbert and you, but now that Gilbert's not fighting, is he able to come on board to be there for the fight, or you have others with you for the fight?
No, my coach is Trevor Whitman for this fight. I trained with Trevor. I put in the camp with him. Of course, George Santiago, my grappling coach, has been with me from the start. You know, they made the trip, and they're here with me.
All right. Thank you, Champ.
Thank you.
We'll take our next set of questions from Mojang Wu with Hoop Sport.
Hi, Champ. This is Hoop Sport from China. So when people give credit to Masvidal for taking the fight shortly, people may forget about you are also the one who has to fight with risk. So we know you have a good training camp, but it wasn't designed for Jorge Masvidal. So what kind of a strategic adjustment will you make for him on Saturday?
That's the thing about me and the type of fighter that I am and the style that I fight. It doesn't matter who it is. My style is geared to just breaking and dominating each and every opponent, whether you're a striker, whether you're a grappler, whether you're a wrestler or a kickboxer. It doesn't matter what style you have. You know, my goal is to impose my will and get them out of there.
That sounds awesome. But early in this week, Masvidal said he has one clear thought of your skill level. He said no matter how good you are or not, he predicts his fight will be ended by a couple knockout. So what would you react to his preview like this? And what do you think Masvidal? Do you think Masvidal has prepared his his capacity for this fight?
I mean, that's what they all say. That this is like everybody's making a lot of, oh, he's getting a lot of attention. That he's supposed to. At the end of the day, Masvidal is the biggest, baddest opponent that I've faced up to this date, and they're supposed to make a big deal out of that because he's no slouch. I know that he's tough. I know that he's gonna present a different challenge, but that's my job. That's why I'm the champion. That's why I'm on top of it. We've seen previously, my previous opponent said that he was gonna leave me out on a stretcher, just like Masvidal just said. He said that he would leave me in a pool of my own blood, and that they would carry me out on a stretcher. And the opponent before that, Tyron Woodley, said if it came to wrestling, he'd kick my ass. If it came to jiu-jitsu, he'd break my arm. If it came to striking, he would knock me out. We all saw how that turned out. So, it's the story of them. That's what they say, just to try to build themselves up and hype themselves. But very quickly when they step in there, their dreams of being champions turn into nightmares very quickly.
Thank you so much, Chan. And good luck on Saturday. Thank you.
We'll take our next questions from Nesta McGregor with BBC.
Hey, hello, Kamaru. How are you doing? Greetings from the United Kingdom. You've mentioned being away from your daughter for a long time and for the first time. How reassuring has all the testing been, and how many times have you been tested leading up to Fight Island?
So far, I've been tested 4 times in this whole process. So from last Thursday to today, 4 times so far, and I believe we have 1 or 2 more to go. So definitely all the precautions have been taken, and after I go out there Saturday and get my hand raised, I'm glad to know that I'll be returning back home to my daughter COVID-free.
Okay, I've seen a quote from you where you said you're going to bless his face with your fists for 24 minutes. The fight is scheduled for 25. So would you be disappointed in a first round knockout then? Is this all about punishment and teaching Masvidal a lesson for you?
That's my goal, always. That's my goal, is to teach a lesson. And it didn't just start with fighting. It started all the way back in wrestling. I'm the type of guy in the wrestling world who I'd rather take a tech fall over a pin. I'd rather beat a guy with such a wide margin that they never, ever dream of competing with me again. And so that's kind of how I approach the fight game is, of course, I'm not going to lie, I'm going to take it. If I knock him out in the first round, I'm absolutely going to take it and go home. But I want to break him mentally. I want to break his spirit. It's something about a man. When you break his spirit, it's just something about him. Every time he walks by you, he knows that you are a better man than him. So, that's ultimately what I want to do to him.
Yeah, and apologies for repeating this question, but it's just for my own purposes. We've already mentioned no fans, and sometimes, when you land that first blow that wobbles your opponent, the roar of the crowd gives you added adrenaline. Do you think having no crowd, you'll miss that at all?
I would miss it in the sense of when I watched the whole Covington fight over again, just that moment when you finally deliver that blow, that finishing blow, the roar of the fans. It's great for optics and for the senses, but at the end of the day, that doesn't sway my performance in any way, because when I train, you don't train with the crowd. My sparring sessions, I make sure that there's no one really there. There's no music. There's no outside distractions to where I'm locked in, and there's maybe 4 or 5 people there, my training partners and my coaches. So it's not going to make any difference whether there's a crowd or there's not a crowd. My objective is going to be the same.
Okay, and a final question for me. You are the Nigerian nightmare. Every time you fight, you have, a continent on your back. All around the world, recently, we've seen protests about discrimination and inequality. A message for, you know, Africa, and also, are you going to do anything to mark Black Lives Matter or show support in any way for any of these causes?
I mean, absolutely. As a Black man, not, you know, living in America and just kind of seeing all of the things that have taken place. I mean, we've been seeing it for years. It's just I'm glad that it's brought to the forefront now, because I think the world is really tired and they just really want change. And I think obviously each and every statement that we continue to make and everything that all the eyes that we bring to the situation and the attention, it helps in a way to where it helps moves us forward slowly. And I think by me going out there July 11th and making another statement like I've made in my past fights, it's going to help a bit.
Okay, great talking to you and good luck for the fight.
Thank you.
And we will take our next questions from Carlos Contreras with Milenio Diario.
Hi, Kamaru. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Hey, Kamaru, can you just take me for those last 6-5 months where you heard first from Dana that he wanted this fight to happen in fight week, and everything, I mean, I don't know, the pandemics, Gilbert coming up, and Jorge not signing the contract. How much has been through your mind after you were, I don't know, maybe think of this fight in February and all that happened all the way through July?
A lot has gone through my, a lot has gone, you know, happened. This was the next step of my vision, of my plan, my goals. This was next. I initially was headlining and becoming champion, and then headlining my own event. And what was bigger than that? Headlining the most important weekend in UFC, you know, fight, which is International Fight. And I spoke with Dana after the last performance, and this was his plan. This is what he wanted. This was his plan, and I was on board with it. I've been on board since day one. And Dana tried his best to make the fight happen. Unfortunately, their side wasn't able to live up to the things that the contract that they signed and things of that nature. And so they wanted to back out, and they said that they didn't want to fight. And then, of course, it came to Gilbert, and Gilbert said he wanted to fight. And I'm the champion. I have to take on all challengers, and you know that's what I plan on doing until unfortunately events happened, and now we're here. And this was a fight that should have happened all along.
You know both Jorge and Gilbert for a long time now. Who would you say you know the better as a fighter?
As a fighter, I would say obviously Gilbert. I've trained with Gilbert, and I know just how good he is. I know how tough he is. I know how much of a dog he is. And, you know, so there's that added element there with us knowing one another. But with Jorge, you know, he's a talented fighter. Like I said, man, he's good. He's good. He's no slouch. I don't dismiss him by any means. I don't dismiss his skills at all. I think he's a tough competitor, and there's a reason he's been around for so long. Yes, he's had his ups and downs in his career, but at this moment, he's the biggest, baddest dude next in line for me to face, and I'm fully prepared and aware of that.
We're all assuming this fight is going to sell more pay-per-views with Jorge, since Gilbert had a big streak, but he's growing his popularity just this year. Jorge is a bigger name. Is this true? Is this a bigger deal for you in terms of selling?
Yeah, absolutely. At the end of the day, it takes two to tango. It's not, you know, it's very hard for just one guy to be able to go out there and really sell to the masses. I mean, there, you know, if I think about it, there's maybe a couple of guys in the history that have been able to do something like that. Obviously, Mike Tyson and kind of where, you know, the position to where Conor is kind of approaching at this moment, you know, but only for so long can you sell bullshit to the fans. The fans know if you have someone that's worthy of a challenge or not. And the fact that Jorge had such an amazing year last year in 2019, it puts him into that category to where he is the next biggest challenge for me. And, you know, I'm excited. I can't wait. I think definitely, yeah, this is the fight that people wanted, and it's the fight that the people are getting.
Thank you, Kamaru.
Thank you.
We'll take the next questions from Andreas Hale with Sporting News.
Hey, Kamaru, how you doing?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
Doing well. So here's my question, because Masvidal has been 5 rounds twice in his career, and he's lost both of those fights. Considering the short notice fight for him, and, you know, I know he's been preparing, but he said he had to cut 20 pounds. Are you looking to drag this fight into deep waters? Because I know there's a sense of satisfaction for you dragging fights out because of your conditioning.
No, I'm just looking to dominate the fight from start to finish. If I'm dominating the fight and he's tough enough to hang in there, then it might go 25 minutes. But if I'm dominating the fight and he's not tough enough to stay in there, then it might go 5 or 10 minutes. So it's not something that I look forward to. Oh, I want to drag the fight out. No, you know I prepared. I'm in good shape, and I know he's prepared. Like, that's the thing too. People can't forget that. People are thinking, oh, he took the fight on 6 days' notice. I'm the only guy that he had to prepare for. And so it doesn't matter whether he took it on 6 days. I know he's been preparing, and I'm not coming in there thinking, oh, he's not in shape or he's not going to be prepared to fight. Yeah, he had to cut 20 pounds, but yes, I had to cut 20 pounds too. I still got over 10 pounds to go. So it is what it is. At the end of the day, Saturday night, we're going to step in there, or Saturday morning for me, we're going to step in there and we're going to make it happen.
You say you don't see faces when you get ready to fight, but against Colby Covington, after the fight was over, it had to be extremely satisfying to beat somebody that it was so emotionally charged heading into that fight. How do you think that you will feel emotionally once you get past Masvidal because of all the emotions that went into this fight?
They are all satisfying. That's the crazy thing about what we do is this is the addicting part of what we do, is that moment after the fight. I can't wait. I was speaking about this yesterday. I can't wait to get home and get on my couch, close the doors, order some Thai food, and me and my daughter just watching Netflix. That's the most addicting moment to me in this whole process, is being able to go home, mission accomplished, bank account full of money, and you're just on the couch eating Thai food, watching Netflix. That's the best feeling in the world for me, and I can't wait to repeat that.
So my last question, because Masvidal talked about money, there was like a back and forth about money. He talked about he'd be advocating for fighters to get paid. Should you get past this fight, is it time for Kamaru Usman to get paid and to get the rub that some of these other guys have been getting?
Yeah, first of all, I never said that Kamaru Usman was not getting paid, so let's not think that. But at the end of the day, I'm true to myself, and I'm real with what I say. You know, my negotiations with the company are done behind closed doors, and they get done, which is why I'm here to fight. He was the one complaining, advocating, oh, fighters need to get paid, fighters need this, fighters need that. But the moment he got a little bit extra money, guess what? He said, bye, I'm out, I'm signing, and I'm going to fight. So where's all that unity now? Where's all of that? You talked all this big game about, oh, you're not going to fight if the fighters don't get paid, but now here you are. You know, so it goes to show that he's out for himself. But, you know, it is what it is. I'm glad he's getting some money for this because I wouldn't want to not get paid to get my ass beat by someone named the Nigerian Nightmare.
I'm sorry, I do have one more. Your father, you know, the ESPN article came out today talking about your father. Have you talked to him being out there, and how excited are you for him to get to see you on pay-per-view in the main event of a title fight?
Yeah, I've talked to him. You know, kind of moments like this, I kind of zone out a little bit because, you know, I'm the one who has to truly go through this process in this situation. But I'm extremely thrilled. And that was another part of this for me, which is why I was so excited about this fight and this date and this moment, is pre the COVID-19 and the pandemic. This was a culmination of everything that I've done, everything that I've worked for and sacrificed for. This was the moment that my father was going to get to be there cage side and watch his son that had put in all this time, all these countless hours and all these efforts to get to this point, to be center stage in the world. And, you know, it feels good to know that he's going to be home with my mother and they get to watch it, you know, live on pay-per-view. But it would feel even better if he was here in the stand, in the arena with me.
So that means he'll be there for the next one, though, while you're still champ.
Absolutely.
Cool. Good luck. Thank you for the time.
Thank you.
And we will take our last set of questions from Louise Green with MMA Crazy.
I am Kamaru, this will be your second title defense, but out of all of the opponents that you've had in the past, where does Jorge rank?
He's the best. Out of each and every one of them, he's the best. He's the next guy in front of me. He's the toughest guy in front of me. So, I don't take him lightly. I'm going out there with all of that thoughts. The thought that he is the best opponent that I've faced to date, and I have to go out there and treat him accordingly.
And obviously he came out of he had the big knockout win over Askren, and then most recently over Nate Diaz. What have you thought about his past performances, and what are you going to be expecting from him on Saturday?
No, he's a very, very tough fighter. He's very skilled. There's a lot of things that he does well. He had an incredible 2019, great year, coming out and doing the things that he did, and really kind of propelled him into the position that he's in. But my job is always to go out there and derail all of that. My previous opponents were doing the same. The one before that had 3 or 4 title defenses back to back, and I went out there and made him look like an amateur. And the last guy was on a 6-7 fight win streak, dominating performances, and I went out there and still got the job done. And nothing changes here. I understand that Jorge's tough. I understand that he's very skilled, and I do believe that he believes that he's going to come out and try to take my head off. I believe that, and I'm going to go out there, and like I said, I'm going to treat him accordingly, and I'm going to discipline him the appropriate way.
Gilbert Burns recently told ESPN that he was hoping and rooting, obviously, for you to win, not only because, obviously, you're former teammates, but because he thinks if Jorge wins, he's going to hold up the division by facing, the likes of Nate again and Conor, and not the real #1 contenders. What's your opinion on those comments, and how important is it for you to hold on to this title on Saturday?
Well, it's important, title or no title. It's important for me to continue to be victorious and continue to improve in every facet of the game. And so that's what I'm continuing to do. I don't worry about what other people think or what other people care about. What I care about is myself. And the best way for me to go out there and represent myself is to be victorious in each and every competition. So, of course I want to go out there and get the victory in dominating fashion, in exciting fashion, and take on the next opponent, whether it be Conor, whether it be George St. Pierre, whether it be Burns, or whether it be Covington. It doesn't matter. I see no face, that the name does not matter. I'm going to prepare the same, and victory is what's on my mind at all costs.
Okay, thanks for the time.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kamaru. That is all the time we had for you, sir.
All right, thank you.
And that concludes today's Virtual Media Day. We would like to thank everyone for joining today's event and your supporting coverage. If you have not yet registered for the UFC 251 Usman versus Masvidal post-fight media availability and you wish to do so, please register today. We will distribute video and audio downloads from today's event to your emails as soon as they are available. Official weigh-ins will take place tomorrow beginning at 6 a.m. Pacific, 9 a.m. Eastern Time, and with face-offs taking place 2 hours afterwards at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Have a great day, everyone.